Day 68, Desert Wanderings, Numbers 19 through 20, Deuteronomy 21, Psalm 99. Let's begin. Numbers 19, 20. And the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, This is the ritual that the Lord has appointed for a victim. Instruct the sons of Israel, so that they may bring to you a red cow of full maturity, in which there is no blemish, and which has not carried a yoke. And you shall deliver it to Eleazar the priest, who, having led it out beyond the camp, shall immolate it in the sight of all. And dipping his finger in its blood, he shall sprinkle it 7 times, opposite the door of the tabernacle. And he shall burn it, while all are watching, delivering into the flame, not only its skin and flesh, but also the blood and dung. Likewise cedar wood, and hyssop, and twice-dyed scarlet he shall cast into the flame, by which the cow is consumed. And then finally, having washed his garments and his body, he shall enter into the camp, and he shall be deeply stained until evening. Then he also who had burned it shall wash his garments and his body, and he shall be unclean until evening. Then a clean man shall gather the ashes of the cow, and he shall pour them out beyond the camp, in a very pure place, so that they may be preserved for the multitude of the sons of Israel, and for the water of aspersion, because the cow was burned for sin. And when he who had carried the ashes of the cow will have washed his garments, he shall be unclean until evening. The sons of Israel, and the newcomers who live among them, shall have this as a holy and perpetual right. Whoever touches the corpse of a man, and is, because of this, unclean for 7 days, shall be sprinkled from this water on the 3rd and 7th days, and so shall he be cleansed. But if he was not sprinkled on the 3rd day, he is not able to be cleansed on the 7th. Anyone who will have touched the dead body of a human life, and who has not been sprinkled with this mixture, pollutes the tabernacle of the Lord, and he shall perish out of Israel. For not having been sprinkled with the water of expiation, he shall be unclean, and his filth shall remain upon him. This is the law of a man who dies in a tent. All who enter into his tent, and all the vessels which are there, shall be polluted for 7 days. The vessel that has no cover or binding over it shall be unclean. If anyone in the field will have touched the corpse of a man, who was killed or who died on his own, or his bone, or his grave, he shall be unclean for 7 days. And they shall take some of the ashes from the burning and the sin offering, and they shall pour living waters over them into a vessel. And into it a man who is clean shall dip hyssop, and he shall sprinkle from it the entire tent, and all its articles, and the men who were polluted by means of contact. And so, in this manner, what is clean shall purify what is unclean, on the 3rd and 7th days. And having been expiated on the 7th day, he shall wash both himself and his garments, and he shall be unclean until evening. If anyone has not been expiated by this ritual, his soul shall perish from the midst of the church. For he has polluted the sanctuary of the Lord, and he has not been sprinkled with purifying waters. This precept shall be an everlasting ordinance. Likewise, the one who has sprinkled the waters shall wash his garments. All who will have touched the waters of expiation shall be unclean until evening. Whatever has been touched by something unclean will itself be made unclean. And the soul who touches any of these things shall become unclean until evening. And the sons of Israel, and the entire multitude, went into the desert of Sin, in the 1st month. And the people stayed at Kadesh. And Miriam died there, and she was buried in the same place. And when the people were in need of water, they came together against Moses and Aaron. And as it turned into sedition, they said, If only we had perished among our brothers in the sight of the Lord. Why have you led away the church of the Lord into the wilderness, so that both we and our cattle would die? Why did you cause us to ascend from Egypt, and why have you led us into this most wretched place, which is not able to be sown, which does not produce figs, or vines, or pomegranates, and which, moreover, does not even have water to drink? And Moses and Aaron, dismissing the multitude, entered the tabernacle of the covenant, and they fell prone on the ground, and they cried out to the Lord, and they said, O Lord God, listen to the outcry of this people, and open for them, from your storehouse, a fountain of living water, so that, being satisfied, their murmuring may cease. and the glory of the Lord appeared over them. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Take the rod, and gather the people, you and your brother Aaron, and speak to the rock before them, and it shall bestow waters. And when you have brought forth water from the rock, the entire multitude and their cattle shall drink. Therefore Moses took the rod, which was in the sight of the Lord, just as he had instructed him. And having gathered the multitude before the rock, he said to them, Listen, you who are rebellious and unbelieving. Would we be able to cast out water from this rock? And when Moses had lifted up his hand, striking the stone twice with the rod, very great waters went forth, so much so that the people and their cattle were able to drink. And the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, Because you did not believe me, so as to sanctify me before the sons of Israel, you shall not lead this people into the land, which I will give to them. This is the water of contradiction, where the sons of Israel were quarreling against the Lord, and he was sanctified in them. Meanwhile, Moses sent messengers from Kadesh to the king of Edom. They said, Your brother Israel says this, You know of all the hardships which have overtaken us. How our fathers descended into Egypt, and we lived there for a long time, and the Egyptians afflicted both us and our fathers. And how we cried out to the Lord, and he heeded us and sent an angel, who led us away from Egypt. Behold, we are situated in the city of Kadesh, which is at the extremity of your borders. And we beg you to permit us to cross through your land. We will not go through the fields, nor through the vineyards. We will not drink the waters of your wells, but we will travel by the public ways, neither turning aside to the right, nor to the left, until we have passed your borders. Edom responded to them, You shall not cross through me, otherwise I will meet you armed. And the sons of Israel said, We will travel by the well-trodden path. And if we or our cattle drink from your waters, we will give you what is just. There shall be no difficulty in the price, only let us cross through quickly. But he answered, You shall not cross. And immediately he went out to meet them with a countless multitude and a strong hand. Neither was he willing to agree to their petition to concede passage through his borders. For this reason, Israel diverted away from him. And when they had moved the camp from Kadesh, they arrived at Mount Hor, which is at the borders of the land of Edom. Where the Lord spoke to Moses. Let Aaron, he said, go to his people. For he shall not enter into the land which I have given to the sons of Israel, because he did not believe my mouth at the waters of contradiction. Take Aaron, and his son with him, and lead them on to Mount Hor. And when you have stripped the father of his vestments, you shall put them on Eleazar, his son. Aaron shall be gathered and shall die there. Moses did just as the Lord had instructed. And they ascended Mount Hor, in the sight of the entire multitude. And when he had despoiled Aaron of his vestments, he clothed his son Eleazar with them. And when Aaron had died at the top of the mountain, Moses came down with Eleazar. And the entire multitude, seeing that Aaron lay dead, wept over him for 30 days throughout all their families. Deuteronomy 21. When there will have been found in the land, which the Lord your God will give to you, the corpse of a man who has been killed, and it is not known who is guilty of the murder. Your judges and those greater by birth shall go out and measure, from the place of the corpse, the distance to each of the surrounding cities. And in whichever one they perceive to be closer than the others, the elders shall take a calf from the herd, one which has not pulled with a yoke, nor tilled with a plow. And they shall lead it into a rough and stony valley, one which has never been tilled or sown. And in that place they shall cut the neck of the calf. And the priests the sons of Levi shall approach, those whom the Lord your God has chosen to minister to him, and to bless in his name, and to decide every controversy by their word, and to judge which things are clean and which are unclean. And those greater by birth of that city, nearest to the one who was slain, shall go, and shall wash their hands over the calf that was killed in the valley. And they shall say, Our hands did not shed this blood, nor did our eyes see it. Be merciful to your people Israel, whom you have redeemed, O Lord, and do not charge them with innocent blood in the midst of your people Israel. And so the guilt of the blood will be taken away from them. Then you will be free from the blood that was shed against the innocent, when you will have done as the Lord has instructed you. If you have gone out to fight against your enemies, and the Lord your God has delivered them into your hand, and if, as you are leading away the captives, you see among the number of the captives a beautiful woman, and you love her, and you are willing to have her as a wife, then you shall lead her into your house, and she shall shave off her hair, and cut her nails short, and remove the garment in which she was captured. And she shall sit in your house and weep for her father and mother, for 1 month. And after that you shall enter to her and sleep with her, and she shall be your wife. But if afterwards she does not sit well in your mind, you shall set her free. You cannot sell her for money, nor can you oppress her by force, for you have humiliated her. If a man has 2 wives, one beloved and the other hated, and they have produced children by him, and if the son of the hated wife is the firstborn, and if he wishes to divide his substance among his sons, he cannot make the son of the beloved wife the firstborn, and so prefer him before the son of the hated wife. Instead, he shall acknowledge the son of the hated wife as the firstborn, and he shall give to him a double portion of all that he has. For he is the first among his children, and the rights of the firstborn are owed to him. If a man produces a disobedient and reckless son, who will not listen to the orders of his father or mother, and, having been corrected, shows contempt for obedience, they shall take him and lead him to the elders of the city, and to the gate of judgment. And they shall say to them, This our son is reckless and disobedient. He shows contempt when listening to our admonitions. He occupies himself with carousing, and self-indulgence, and feasting. Then the people of the city shall stone him to death. And he shall die, so that you may take away the evil from your midst. And so may all of Israel, upon hearing it, be very afraid. When a man will have sinned in a matter which is punished by death, and, having been judged unto death, he has been hanged on a gallows, his corpse shall not remain on the tree. Instead, he shall be buried on the same day. For he who hangs from a tree has been cursed by God, and you shall not defile your land, which the Lord your God will give to you as a possession. Psalm 99. A Psalm of Confession. Shout joyfully to God, all the earth. Serve the Lord with rejoicing. Enter into his sight in exultation. Know that the Lord himself is God. He made us, and we ourselves did not. We are his people and the sheep of his pasture. Enter his gates with confession, his courts with hymns, and acknowledge him. Praise his name. For the Lord is sweet, his mercy is in eternity, and his truth is from generation to generation.